What's going on, everyone? So we take on a lot of clients who don't know the difference between an accountant and a bookkeeper, and that's fine because no one really truly explains it to you. But in this video I'm going to tell you exactly what the differences are and why you need both of them. So first things first, what is a bookkeeper? A bookkeeper will you usually interact with these more on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. A bookkeeper will go in and they'll reconcile your bank. They'll make sure that all your sales and your purchase invoices are posted and they're going to the correct nominal codes, things like that. They'll just make sure that everything's nice and neat and tidy. So what is an accountant? An accountant will usually then review the transactions of the bookkeeper. You'll usually work with the accountant more on a monthly, quarterly, annual basis sort of thing. So the accountant will go in, they'll review the transactions of the bookkeeper, and then they'll give you more sort of tailored advice as to what the next steps of your company is, how to plan your company finances in order to reduce your tax bill, and yeah, they'll just give you more personalised strategies as to making sure the company is as effective as possible. So why do you need both of them? Why can't an accountant just do the work of a bookkeeper? Well, an accountant can do the work of a bookkeeper, but usually the accountant will charge more per hour for their services. Therefore, you get a bookkeeper who will charge a smaller fee per hour. They'll make sure that everything's nice and tidy, so then when the accountant comes in, it's a nice, smooth, clean process. The accountant can just review it as quickly as possible, and there's not too many corrections to make, although there will usually be corrections, but not as many. They'll make sure all the balance sheets reconciled, make sure that all the journals are then posted into the profit and loss, and then they'll give you the accounts for you to review and sign off. If an accountant can do the role of a bookkeeper, can the bookkeeper do the role of an accountant? Short answer, no. The reason for this is because the accountant has usually spent a good few more years studying, getting qualifications, which will help them make them decisions that they need to make when doing the final preparation of the accounts. So unfortunately, no, you cannot do it a cheap way, and the bookkeeper could not really do the job of an accountant. Who can do bookkeeping services? So the client, you, can do any bookkeeping services that you want, or you can get anyone who offers bookkeeping services. The bookkeeper does not need a qualification in order to offer services. Now, this is a hot topic within the accounting industry, and my view on it is that you do need to have some form of qualification in order to offer bookkeeping services. You don't need to, but for me, if I was a client and I was hiring someone as a bookkeeper, I would 100% get someone who has got some form of qualification relating to bookkeeping behind them. So various different qualifications that you can look for is ICB, which is Institute of Certified Bookkeepers, which just looks at, as it says, the bookkeeping element of it. Or you can then look for an accountant who has AAT behind them, or a bookkeeper who has AAT behind them, which is Association of Accountant Technicians. So what AAT does over ICB is it takes more of a rounded view, so you'll learn a lot more about the accounts and the financial statements, you'll learn about posting journals, various different things like that, whereas ICB will just more focus on the bookkeeping element. I haven't done ICB, so don't know about it in detail. I have done AAT and CIMA, so I know a lot more about AAT and I can give my opinion on that, but not ICB. What should you look for in an accountant? Gone are the days where an accountant isn't sort of, front facing to the client, isn't wanting to talk to the client. Absolutely gone are the days. We have got to be interacting and proactive with the client on a month-to-month, quarterly basis. We've got to be, otherwise it just doesn't work. What you want from an accountant nowadays is, and also a bookkeeper, someone who is proactive, someone who skips out all the jargon. You don't want an accountant or a bookkeeper who is speaking jargon to you. It's just going to take you longer to interpret the conversation. You want the accountant or the bookkeeper to look at various different information that they found on the internet or from the government website, whatever, and then interpret that into plain English to then deliver it to the client. That's what you want. If they're speaking jargon to you, that's a huge red flag. If they can't explain it in plain English, then they're not a good accountant, in my opinion. Another thing to look at in an accountant and a bookkeeper is they need to be contactable and they need to be approachable. When you've got a problem, a financial problem, or the worry and the dread can really set in, you need to know that you can go and speak to your accountant easily, and they're always available to speak to you, obviously within the hours that they should be working. Within the day, within the normal trading day, they should be a contactable, majority of that day. They also need to have a professional manner about them. You could be having meetings with your bank manager to get additional finance and your accountant is going to be there. Are they going to be able to represent you in the best possible way, in a professional way? If they tick all the other boxes but don't tick the professionalism, you might not think that it's a problem. Girl, not today. No, not today. You might not think that it's a problem. Girl, no, not today. So you might not think that it's a problem if they haven't got professional behaviour, because you might not be looking for that in an accountant, but as your business grows and you'll be having conversations and meetings with more professional individuals, you want your accountant to be able to be professional as well. So the question is then now is, obviously you know the differences between a bookkeeper and an accountant. When should you bring these people on board? So as soon as you're serious about your business, you should be bringing them on that day. You should be bringing both a bookkeeper and an accountant on day one. I'm not just saying this because we're able to charge more fees, because that's not the case. We could actually charge more fees when you've made a mess of the accounts. When you've made a mess of the accounts, and then we correct it and then make it right. That's when you can make more money. But what we prefer is to be able to give the client a good turnaround, be able to make sure that all the information is accurate from day one, be at peace with the finances. Bring a bookkeeper on board from day one, get them making sure that them books are nice and clean, and then you can make good financial decisions from that. So I hope that cleared up some of the questions that you had between, do I need a bookkeeper, do I need an accountant, do I need both, or can I just do it myself? So if it has, great. If it hasn't, leave a couple of questions down below and I'll answer them for you. But see you in a bit.